Dr. Sharma, I was recently having a discussion with some of my classmates, and the question arose, is it possible that Hinduism is just a mere projection?
What do you mean by projection?
I mean, really, is it just made up? Is it possible that it's just made up?
Just a piece of fiction, yeah? Yeah. To tell you the truth, I have also wondered about this. And this, of course, can be said of any religious system. And it's a very good question to ask, because it goes to the nub of the matter. One can say so, but one has to keep in mind the fact that unlike some religions in which the outcome of the religious life is only available after death, in many forms of Hinduism, the outcome of the religious life can be experienced while one is alive. Our more scholarly ways of making these points are that in most religions, realization of its goal is a post-mortem phenomenon, whereas in Hinduism it can be pre-mortem, before one dies. And this, I think, has a strong bearing on the point you raise. Let me give you a simple example, or let me make the point with the help of an example. Have you been to Australia?
I haven't.
Have you seen a kangaroo?
No, not in person.
Yeah, you have not. So if someone told you that there is such a thing as the kangaroo, you would be entitled to a certain amount of skepticism about that animal, if you were so inclined. But your skepticism in relation to a unicorn as compared with a kangaroo will have a different quality. In the sense that a person who insists on the existence of a unicorn will not be able to show you a unicorn. But a person who was confident or who knew that kangaroos do exist would point out that you could easily go to Australia and see them for yourself. Now, once you are presented with a proposition, the outcome of which, the implication or the conclusion of which, is capable of verification by you personally, then I think it is fair to say that you would treat it less of a fiction and more of a proposition which is falsifiable. And once something becomes falsifiable, then whether it is made up or not can be determined. So this is one way one could respond to your question.
And what might be the other ways that you might respond to that question?
Well, it's slightly technical, but since you have raised the point, those schools in Hinduism which base their teachings on the sacred scriptures of Hinduism have a theory of knowledge. And that theory of knowledge is known as that of, in English, as that of intrinsic validity. The Sanskrit word for it is swataha pramanya, or its own proof, rendered very freely. The point at issue is, do the conditions which give rise to knowledge are the same conditions which, if properly fulfilled, also give rise to true knowledge? Now, when we see a building, when we come to the university and see a building, we don't pause and say, now, is this an illusion? Why? Because we believe in Swata Praman. In this light, with my vision is all right, I see a building. That knowledge which has given rise to, though that condition which has given rise to this knowledge, will also give rise to correct knowledge. In the same way, Hindu epistemology is optimistic in this sense. It believes that knowledge normally is true. This does not mean that error cannot be committed, or cannot happen, or we cannot make mistakes. We can, but error is extrinsic. It is because the light is not good that you don't see the object as it is. What it does is, it makes the burden of proof that something is not correct or right on the person who is challenging it. It makes it encourages the presumption that knowledge is normally right knowledge. But if your friends are skeptical about Hinduism or any religious system, then they might wish to consider the matter as follows. Do your friends appreciate art? They probably do. Or enjoy literature? They probably do. Is literature true or false? Is it fact or fiction? Is art true or false? Is it fact or fiction? We don't ask that question of art or literature or even culture or civilization. Though of religion we asked, is it true or false, when we call it fiction by implication. The point I am trying to make is that just as we take art and literature for what it is, because it enriches our life, should we not hold a similar attitude towards religion if it enriches our life, even if it is fiction?